everybody, welcome to the Weller Truck Electronics Department. This is our new facility here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's about 12,000 square feet dedicated to electronics and mechatronics reman. I'm going to give you your tour here. My name's Ryan Van Vels. I'm the director of this program, so come on in and I'll let you see what we got going on. So the journey here begins in our warehouse where we house our cores. Our cores are broken down into electronics and mechatronics. Electronics would be hardware that controls another piece of hardware. So for example, an engine control module or a transmission control module. It goes into a vehicle, a wire harness connects to it, and it controls something. A mechatronic is something that has a controller built into a mechanical actuator. So for example, our I-Shift control housing here, there's a TCU with a circuit board that controls hardware that's built right onto one assembly. So they're distinct in the way that we rebuild them. There's two different paths for us to go down. So I'm going to walk you through both of those. So we got to go over here and start at our teardown bench. So here in our teardown and prep area, this is the first stop for a core. Our technicians here, first off, they'll go through an inspection. They'll look at the part, they'll make sure that it's feasible to be rebuilt. What we're looking for is any major dents, cracks, electronics world, something that's severely burnt or had a high energy failure. At that point, that gets weeded out and parted out right away. On the mechatronics side, we disassemble the parts. We look at all the subcomponents. We're looking for wear, straightness, cracks, any sort of broken piece that's now gone or missing. At that point, once all the parts have been validated that they can be rebuilt, they move on to a cleaning process. Once a cleaning process is completed for a mechatronic, we'll bring all those components back, and then the technician will reassemble them right here at the same bench where they got disassembled. All of our mechatronics are built under a craftsman philosophy where the same person tears down, inspects, reconditions, and puts it back together. That way there's some ownership with the component or part that they built. Our electronics are a little different. Those go through more of an assembly line, so the electronics would get disassembled. The circuit board would go into our lab, which we'll go to in a minute, and then the hardware will be reconditioned over in our cleaning area. Let's go over to the cleaning area real quick. So this is that cleaning area. Everything that we do here is collected and filtered as far as any material that we make. So this is a grinding table, it's a wet collector. Any sort of shaving or dust, any sort of grinding action is performed in here. It sucks all the material that's been removed off the part in through a collector, cleans the air, discharges it back into the building. The reason we do that is we don't want dust to fly out of here, anything that's conductive, and go on to, number one, a circuit board that could create a short circuit, or any dust goes back into a mechatronic, into a pneumatic sealed area that can cause scrapings and a leak. To my left, our cleaning room, that has a lot of pressure wash equipment, ultrasonic tanks, and tumbler machines that recondition parts. Let's go into our lab. So the first stop for electronics is our parts room here. So all of our reman electronics swing through here, and what we do is we part up each build. So for example, a Cummins ECM here, each one that comes in gets put into a bin, and we put about 65 parts in this bin that are going to get replaced in the next station that we go to. All of these cabinets are filled with literally thousands of electronic components. You can see that we have some heat sinks that have been recovered that have new drivers put on them. This happens to be a voltage control and a fuel solenoid driver for a Cummins ECM. Every electronic comes in here, gets parted up, and gets ready to go into our next area, which we'll go to right now. So this is our solder room. In here we have circuit board technicians that work on circuit boards all day. And what their job is take old parts off, put new parts on, and fix any circuit board problems that we have, such as delamination or any broken traces, anything like that. All of our technicians are IPC 7711 certified, which is board rework and component placement on circuit boards. So top level training and very high quality repair that we can get out of here. So Mike is working on a Cummins Select Plus ECM board here, and what he's doing is some site prep for some parts that he's going to be replacing. You'll notice here that he's wearing a grounding strap, which is for ESD, or electrostatic discharge. That puts his body on the same electrical potential as the electrical system of our building, the ground system, or the grounding in the electrical system. What that does is keep him from producing a static charge on his body that he would put into the board inadvertently. ESD is a huge problem in the electronics manufacturing industry. If we were to shock one of these boards on accident, we could induce a failure that doesn't happen right away. So this unit could go out in the field and be working for, let's say, 6 months, and that part is at a reduced capacity, and then all of a sudden it fails out in the field. We don't want that, so we mitigate static at all costs. So on top of our cord, all of our benches have one of these blue mats. This is an ESD dissipative mat. There's a constant monitoring system that's tied to this. So if Mike was to become disconnected from the ground system, there would be an audible alarm that lets him know that he needs to fix that. On top of it, our floor is a ESD conductive epoxy floor. Our entire facility that we're going to walk through here has this flooring in it. So as we walk and our sleeves and arms and legs rub, we generate static. This floor will make it so it's dissipated into that electrical system of the building, so no static electricity can be generated here. Top of that, all of our chairs are ESD chairs, so any sort of charge that builds up will go through the floor in that regard too. We have a training cell down here. This is where we conduct our IPC training, and we have a certified master trainer on staff that performs our certification, trains, and upholds the standards for all of our technicians. So what we can put out of this facility here is a high-level repair that is at the highest level of capability that's recognized in the United States. So it's a really good program. This is our mechatronics testing area. This is where we test all of the mechatronic components that we remanufacture. This example is the Eaton Endurant transmission. We reman the MTM that goes on this. And what we do is we have a transmission here that's direct driven with a motor, and we actually place the MTM in the transmission, and we shift the transmission, we shift the gears, we input speeds, we check speed sensors, we check all the inputs and outputs that come out of that MTM to make sure that they're functioning correctly. We use the OEM service tool with it to make sure we don't have any codes or anything like that that's set. This philosophy is carried through with all of our AMT transmissions, the Endurant, the DT12, and the Volvo I-Shift. For our Eaton Ultra Shift and Auto Shift components, we test those in our test room here, which we'll go see right now. So this is our electronics test room, and what we have in here is a bunch of test equipment that we designed, engineered, and built in-house to allow us to reman these products. I'll use our Cummins ECM example over here. Again, we have 3 testers for our Cummins ECMs. What they allow us to do is test every input or output available to that ECM. So it's a full dynamic test. We run injectors, we vary the throttle, we do coolant temperature, oil pressure, oil temperature. Everything that you can think of, anything that module does, we can inject into it and test to make sure that it's working correctly. Once we do a cold test or a room temperature test, we'll take the module, we'll put it in one of our ovens, we'll warm it up to about 190 degrees Fahrenheit. That simulates the part being on the truck and in its working environment. We'll then take it back out, put it on our tester, and test it again for another 30-minute test. At that point, the part is ready to be sold. It'll go in a box, go on the shelf. Most of our electronics that we see here are programmable, and we like to add value to the customer by programming that part here before we sell it, before we ship it. So again, our Cummins ECM, when we do sell one of these, we'll ask for an engine serial number and a calibration ID. Then one of our techs will go ahead and put the program in that, and it'll be delivered to the customer programmed and ready to go, ready to bolt on that truck and go down the road. The product that we do offer, have a small example of it here. Start with the Eaton Auto Shift. We do the XY shifters for the Gen 1s, 2s, 3s, and Ultra Shift Plus. We do transmission control modules for the Auto Shift Generation 2 and 3, and we do the push button controller and the lever shifter for the Gen 1 and Gen 2 Auto Shift. The Eaton Lightning transmission, we support that control module. The ZF Astronic or the Meritor Freedom line, this is a GS3, which is the shift actuator. We rebuild those. Cummins ECM, Select Plus, 1991 to 2002 in that time frame. We are the industry leader in this module. We've been doing this for 13 years. Allison, WTEC 2, WTEC 3, TCMs, as long as all the different shifters that go along with those to shift those transmissions. What's not pictured here is the DT12 ASA, the automated shift actuator, the Valo iShift Mac M drive, control housing and TECU, and the clutch actuators that go with the DT12 and the iShift. We've talked about selling them, building them, and now we need to talk about supporting them. So we have a team that's dedicated to supporting our products, and they are right over here. So we have representatives here on site that help with our product either pre or post sale. Our reps here are intimately familiar with the product. They've typically been involved in the R&D process to create the reman process and the development of the test equipment. So when you talk to one of our electronics representatives here, tech support or warranty, they know what's going on. They know the product, they know the system on the vehicle that it goes into. It's kind of an advantage that we have, or a value add, is most companies will outsource the creation of the part and then it goes to a warehouse to be sold while somebody else thousands of miles away supports it in a call center. These gentlemen have the knowledge, and they were there at the ground level building test equipment, building the program, and supporting the product through all that. So they have a very good working knowledge of the product and the system that it goes into. That concludes the tour. I want to thank you for visiting with us, and I hope you have a fantastic day.